Hello, my name is Lee Topolewski, and this presentation highlights my doctoral research examining victim-offender relationships and injury severity in homicide cases. Homicide research has traditionally focused on offender characteristics, weapon type, and situational variables. However, limited quantitative research has examined how injury severity varies across victim-offender relationship types, particularly within specific anatomical regions. Prior literature has suggested that emotionally charged relationships may influence severity and distribution of injuries. The concept of overkill proposes that excessive or targeted violence may occur more frequently in closer interpersonal relationships. This study sought to examine whether relational closeness influences injury severity, with particular attention to injuries involving the face, head, and neck. Two hypotheses guided this research. The first hypothesis proposed that intimate victim-offender relationships would be associated with more severe overall injury scores compared to acquaintances and strangers. Hypothesis 2 proposed that higher injury severity scores in the face and neck would be correlated with closer victim-offender relationships. This study utilized quantitative retrospective analysis of 116 single victim homicide cases with known victim-offender relationships and complete autopsy documentation. Injury severity was assessed using the abbreviated injury scale. Multiple injury severity measures were calculated, including the summary of the abbreviated injury scale of the body, the head, and the neck, the total number of injuries for the body, the head, and the neck, the homicide injury severity scale. And because injury severity data is not normally distributed, or at least in this sample, it wasn't normally distributed, non-parametric analyses were conducted using the Creutzfeldt-Wallace test, followed by the post hoc Mann-Whitney-U comparisons when it was appropriate. Regarding hypothesis 1, the results indicated that no statistically significant differences in overall injury severity scores across victim and offender relationships groups. Measures such as the injury severity score, the SAIS body, the TNI body, and other scores did not demonstrate significant variation. This finding suggests that relational closeness doesn't correlate with greater overall injury severity within the sample. However, the findings differed when we examined anatomical injury severity. The Creutzfeldt-Wallace test revealed that there were statistically significant differences in the SAIS head and neck injury severity scores across groups, with a chi-square value of 10.631 and a p-value of 0.014. The median SAIS head and neck scores were 9 for intimate partner homicides and 13 for other relative homicides, while acquaintances were 2 and strangers were 3. Similarly, statistical significant differences were observed in the TNI head and neck scores, with a chi-square value of 8 and a p-value of 0.046. The post hoc analysis confirmed that there were significant differences between intimate partner and acquaintance homicides, as well as between other relative and acquaintance homicides. These findings indicate that while overall injury severity may not differ between relationship types, head and neck injury severity varies in association with the relational closeness. In other words, the relationship between victim and offender appears to influence how violence is expressed anatomically, even if it doesn't influence total injury severity. These these findings contribute to the growing body of literature highlighting the unique dynamics of violence in close interpersonal relationships, particularly in homicides that involve intimate partners and family members. The study supports theoretical perspectives suggesting that emotional strain may influence anatomical targeting in these violent encounters. However, like any research, several limitations should be acknowledged. This study used a single sample of homicide cases from San Antonio, Texas. I employed retrospective design, and this sample size was limited to cases that had complete autopsy documentation. So for future research, these findings should be replicated across jurisdictions and incorporate additional contextual and behavioral variables to further examine the mechanisms underlying anatomical injury variation and difference in violence. In sum, while relational closeness was not associated with greater overall injury severity, significant differences were observed in head and neck injury severity across victim-offender relationship groups, suggesting that relational dynamics may shape anatomical distribution of violence. Thank you.